Hi there, welcome to the YouTube channel. Here we go again. Another week, another load of Commander deck text from my twisted imagination for Murders of Karloff Manor. And today we're looking at the Massacre Girl, Known Killer. 2 in double black for a 4/4 human assassin with menace, and creatures you control have wither. Now wither's an old mechanic that comes from the days back in the day, and basically when creatures deal their damage, they deal it in the form of -1/-1 counters instead of 2 damage. They get 2, your creatures that block and get 2 -1/-1 counters. So bearing that in mind, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, we get to draw a card. Yeah, mono black Massacre Girl. Okay, I think we can cope with this today. So here we go. This is what today's deck tech looks like. As usual, start with the lands. Yeah, lots and lots of black lands. We've got a few random things, so Bardur's in here, so we can get some Mass Orcs on the go if a creature died this turn, which with this deck should happen fairly often. Bajuka Bog, just to take care of people's graveyards, and then the cards you'd expect to see in any mono black deck: Cabal Coffers, Cabal Stronghold, and to a certain extent Field of the Dead here as well. Fabled Passage, Memorial to Folly, Mortuary Mire. The other one that ramps everything greatly is Nykthos, Shrine of Nyx. Reliquary Terrace, we don't have to discard anything. A whole load of swamps. And then Temple of the False God, Dross Pits, and Herbal Tome of Yagamoth. You would expect to see them in any black deck. Gone a little bit rampy, so we're going to use Mox Tantalite and Jeweled Lotus, because if we can get the Massacre Girl out in turn 1, it's really nice. Soul Rings here, and then we've got Arcane Signet, we've got Charcoal Diamond. Fellwell Stone I'm just putting in because, well, it's a 2-mana rock basically, hence why it's here. Jet Medallion to lower the cost of everything. Mind Stone and Thought Vessel. Lots of colourless ramp in the deck. The rest of the deck is based around 2 things. There's a little bit of Infect, but we're not really going down the poison thing because -1/-1 counters, always nice. And then obviously we're going down, the main thing here is a Wither. So here we go. Festering Mummy, when it dies, we get to put a -1/-1 counter on things, which we want to do to draw cards. Reanimate lets us nick something that we may have killed. Be careful with this though, we haven't got much life gain in the deck. I can't remember if I put any in at all, to be honest. I don't think I have, thinking about it, but hey. But so you can use it to get something back that's good. Viscera Seer can be useful, especially if you've got something you want to get rid of. You can sack your Festering Mummy, with the to put a -1/-1 counter on something and then hopefully draw a card. That's there. Vesper Asp gives us Infect. It deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. Like I say, we're not that interested in trying to poison people deck, but the -1/-1s are more important. So there's going to be a few more Infect things. DTs here, just to go and find something we might need. Oversold Cemetery. If there are 4 more creature cards in your graveyard, return 1 card from your graveyard to your hand. So you don't have to worry about putting Massacre Girl back in the command zone when this is out. You can just sit in the graveyard until you get more creatures in there. Persist returns non-legendary creatures with -1/-1 counters on it. Yeah. Fressrius means we give one of our creatures Infect as well if we need to. Plague Stinger comes with Infect. Again, this is going to be one of the ones that gets killed off. People are going to think you're going to play Poison, but you're not. You're interested in the -1/-1 counters. Not going to say it anymore. Said it enough now. Sickle Reaper is also here. It's a 2/1 with Wither. Zulaport Cutthroat, just so we get some benefit from our creatures dying, because they will die. Ironclaw Mere is also here. It goes up to 3/3 when it gets blocked, so 3 -1/-1 counters with a bit of luck. Lightning Greaves, and did I put the boots in? No, I didn't put the boots in. I just put the Greaves in just to protect the Massacre Girl when she hits play, basically. Bastion of Remembrance, so we can do the whole drain and gain. Contagious Nim has got Infect, so more -1/-1 counters. Corrosive Mentor gives all of our black creatures Wither. Now, you can have Wither and Infect, and I'm not sure how that works. I think you put 2 -1/-1 counters on things, but I'm not sure. When I play the deck, I'll check it out. Grim Affliction is also here. -1/-1 counter on target creature, then proliferate. Ichorats does the Infect thing. Necroskitter does also the Wither thing. Needle Spectre, another Wither one, and when it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards that many cards. So it's going to be one card most of the time. Phyrexian Crusader, pro red, pro white, infect, first strike. Thank you very much. Septic Rats does it as well, but when it's attacks, if defending player is poison, he gets +1/+1 until the end turn. So yeah, the poison does have a little bit of upside to it. Blackcleave Goblin is a really expensive 2/1 with haste and infect. Probably not the best card in the world. Probably can drop this and put something better in, but hey, I've kept it in because yeah, it's got infect in it. We like the -1/-1 counters. Flesh Eater Imp does the infect as well, and we can sack a creature to make it even bigger, which you know, our white guy can be sacrificed maybe. Install Infection, chuck a -1/-1 counter on a creature and then draw a card, so might help. Marchesa's Decree lets us just become the monarch, and then whenever a creature attacks us or a planeswalker we control, that creature's controller loses a life. Similar with Revenge of the Ravens, except you don't become the monarch, but you gain one and they lose one. Smouldering Butcher is just Wither 4/2 for 4 mana. Again, not great stats, but I was really wanted to play as many of the old Wither creatures as I could. Court of Ambition, just as another way of making our opponents lose life unless they discard cards. Damnation gives us board control, one of the main targets for Demonic Tutor. Closely followed by the Invasion of Innistrad. To give something -13 is very nice. And if we get it flipped to the Deluge of Dead and get a few zombies and then start exiling things, all the better for us. One ring to rule them all. The ring tempts you, then each player mills cards equal to your ring bearer's power. Blow up all the non-legendary stuff, then each opponent loses 1 life for each card in that player's graveyard. It's kind of a bit of fun. I haven't played One Ring to rule them all very much in any of my decks, and I decided this one might be a good home for it. Skin Renderer comes into play. You put 3 -1/-1 counters on something. Whip of Eberroth gives all our creatures lifelink, and we can return things and then exile them if need be. So bear that in mind. And Lockjaw Snapper, 4 mana for a 2/2 with Wither, and when it dies, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature with the -1/-1 counter on already. With the amount of Wither damage we're dealing, there should be quite a few creatures that get an extra counter with a bit of luck. Reaper of Sheldred is also here with the infect side of it, and whenever a source deals damage to Reaper of Sheldred, that shield source's controller gets a poison counter. Again, not going for the poison win, but it's a backup. And the original version of the Massacre Girl from War of the Spark is also here. Comes into play, gives everything -1/-1. When a creature dies, it gives another -1/-1, and you snowball the effect up. And sometimes you just win with this. Puppeteer Click lets you come back in and get another creature. Admittedly, it comes back in with Persist as well, but it's not the end of the world. And Skithrix, yeah, probably one of the most hated poison cards ever printed by Wizards. However, in this deck, it is purely here to do more -1/-1 counter delivery, especially to the flyers that we have very little defense against. Carnifex Demon is one of the things we do have defense with, and we need some black mana, so we need to have at least 7 mana available when we do this, so we can chuck those -1/-1 counters around. The Invasion of Fiora is also here as well to blow up all the non-legendary stuff if need be, or the legendary stuff if we're getting annoyed with all the commanders we're playing against. And then when we get it flipped to turn into Marchesa Resolute Monarch, it's even better. Whenever it attacks, we move all counters up to 1 target permanent. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you draw a card and lose a life. Yeah, okay. Massacre Worm does the whole -2/-2 things and then makes people lose life when their creatures die. Midnight Banshee is just a Wither, a 5/5 in flyer, non-flyer, sorry, with Wither, but it has a lovely secondary ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on each non-black creature. It does really help trigger this quite a lot to draw cards, so it's worth having in the deck. Contagion Engine, because, you know, why would you not want to proliferate your -1/-1 counters where you spent all the time getting on your creatures? On one player's creatures, anyway. Yeah. And Phyrexian Juggernaut, 5/5 attacks each turn as able, has the infect ability, so hopefully I'll chuck around 5 -1/-1 counters on something big that blocks it. Grave Betrayal lets you take creatures from graveyards and put them into play, and they're zombies. Liliana Deathwielder from Amoket. I think it was one of the Planeswalker decks from the set, but I realised when I was building this deck that I didn't have one, and I did remember it did put +2 -1/-1 counter on a target creature, or destroy target creature with the -1/-1 counter on it. Very useful. The -10, however, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, is never really going to happen with this deck, because you're just going to use +2, -3, +2, +2, -3, +2, +2, -3, so on and so forth. But hey, she's here. She could be good. Virtue of Persistence. Give something -3, -3, then gain 2 life, and then if we can get the enchantment side down as well, return creature cards from graveyards to the battlefield under our control. Baneful Omen, is an expensive card to cast, but at the beginning of your end step, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, each opponent loses life equal to that card's mana value. Can be useful. The last couple of cards, yeah. Do I need to say anything about Blightsteel Colossus? No, probably not. So you know what it does. Again, more for the -1/-1 than the poison side. But the other two, Black Sun's Twilight, target creature gets -X/-X, and if X is 5 or more, return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then Black Sun's Zenith, put X -1/-1 counters on each creature, shuffle Black Sun's Zenith into its owner's library. Yeah, that's pretty good as well. But that's it. This is a really short video day because, you know, Massacre Girl is a one-trick pony to all intents and purposes. You want to get the -1/-1 counters on things as soon as you can. And yeah, that's what this deck really does do. And I'm not keen on this artwork, I'll be honest. It's very confusing to have a black card on a white background to my mind. Maybe it's just me, but it looks, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of the case files. I think they're great. Then this is one I got in a draft, so yeah, I'm not going to complain about it. But yeah, would have preferred this to be in white writing and a black background. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, enough about that. This was the Massacre Girl. Please, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below. 339 as I record this video tonight. And I'm hoping, you know, still trying to build up to 500 by the end of the year. So if you can help me out, it'd be great. If not, just share it and share it and share it. Send it to people you don't care about. Let them watch it. Maybe they'll subscribe and help me out. Who knows? You can see me play this on stream later this week. But for now, thank you very much. And if you want to know where the stream is, go and look in the description down below where you can find the deck lists if you want to try it yourself. But for now, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.